All right. So we did talk a little bit about the Net Label Week earlier. Did I didn't put the link in here. Let me put this in here. Let's find it. And there's Rhino. Um, so what we discussed earlier is that on July 12th we're going to have a talk or a conference of sorts. We'll have to, there's still some details to figure out. We'll have some sort of submission deadline. Uh, we got to figure out like times and things, but this was just sort of like we were spitballing ideas. And so the idea here is that Omar will start a stream on the 13th for us, and then it'll bleed into the 15th. But that way we're not competing with what he's doing on the stream. Now, I said July 12th here, but this is another thing, because with the way we've presented the Net Label Week is basically we're bookending the weekends. So like we could do something Friday night on July 11th, which I mean would be like the middle of the night for you guys, for us. But obviously, if you guys wanted to do something on Friday night, you know, uh,
Yeah.
that'd be in the middle of the day for us. So that'd be fine. But then you have the same thing the next weekend, which is going to be the 18th through the 20th. So maybe we had do you know um, like one talk on Friday night, or maybe the two Friday nights we have like some sort of like party sort of thing, and then on the Saturdays and Sundays we do a series of talks. We don't have all those details, but basically the idea is some of the things that we think people would be interested in learning about. Then we'll try to line up some speakers for those. So that's where we got earlier. Very nice.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Yes. Yeah. I see.
All right, welcome, Rhino. You hear
Hello.
us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. So there were some questions that came up earlier. We were looking at your YouTube here, and we've got the 1111 videos up here. But I don't know where the videos, if there are any from the Walls show. I know you showed me some of those, or I saw some of those at some point from someone. I don't know where I saw them,
Um,
but
I I usually stream them on Twitch, and I didn't get them moved over to YouTube.
okay.
I think I might have it still saved somewhere, but I just didn't. And Twitch
What is it?
automatically removes them after,
Twitch.tv. Oh, okay.
yeah, so long. I
Interesting.
thought I put them on there, but I think I missed them. Sorry.
So what were the dates on those? You remember?
No. Let me see if I can find them.
And then William was saying that you did a show at the record store. Now I know we talked about you potentially doing some stuff there, but the I know you leave stuff there, but did you actually do a show there?
At the record store?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
actually, we've done several. So when you were looking at the YouTube, um, like the End of All Music, the ones that were KJ Wild and Palomino, those two right there were actually both from the record store.
Okay. And then you did some at your house too, right?
Yep. Yeah, that one right there is actually right where I'm sitting.
Which one's right where you're sitting?
The one where it's John and Kiki, the live from Rhinos. It's the third one. Yeah, right
Oh,
there.
okay. I thought you said KJ Wild was, but there's two KJ Wilds.
Yeah.
That's why I was confused because you said this was. But I see End of All Music is the name of the.
Yep.
The name of the record shop. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
It was, and back in March is when I did the one with Walls.
okay. So yeah, the question was like if they were all 11-11, and I was pretty sure the answer was no, but I
Yeah.
wasn't. I could not find evidence of that. So
Yeah. And then I actually did a couple more. When was trying to remember because we just had John down a little bit ago, and we did one at the local bakery, which was they were making bread in the background, and it just
Yeah.
smelled delicious the whole time. Oh, it was, and it was so good. Like we brought a whole bunch of it home too. What was it, Sunflower Bakery or? But yeah.
I seem to recall that's what you said, something like that, because we talked about them before.
So I have a question for you, Rhino, because do you feel like you are building up some kind of audience for this shows, or is it that the people are coming for the special band that is playing, and when another band is playing, there is a completely different audience?
Yeah. Well, so for each of them, it's kind of been their own audience. Like what we've really tried to do is always get somebody local to get involved, and the local bands usually do the best to bring people out.
Yeah. So this is my experience in Cologne. We tried this here in Cologne. Do you remember the Cologne Commons?
Yes,
You've
I
been
remember.
here. Yeah.
Amsterdam Mac, Mark Hollenbach. I just remember him getting
Yeah,
really drunk and getting on the table,
Yes.
and they kicked him out.
Yeah, we try to establish like a yearly festival, and then we thought, okay, maybe 2 days once a year is not so good, so let's do just one evening with 4 bands in spring, and then in autumn another evening with 4 bands. But it was always like, yeah, the people came for the special one local band.
Yeah.
And on the next show there were totally different people in the audience. So which was okay. It has been very full, wonderful evenings, but I'm still wondering how you can get an audience that comes just for the idea and the vibe of the evening, and not just for the band they already know. So
And that's the trick with everything. I know, like yeah, like talking with John, he was telling me like when they were really doing, he was touring heavy and everything. There was a lot of times that they'd go and basically play an empty room, and like for these traveling touring bands, it's really difficult to get people to show up. People don't want to come up off their money. The one thing I found that really helped us there was another 11/11 show that I didn't record. The one that Lung was at out of Cincinnati. We actually had vendors there, like little artists that had that, and they actually brought a lot of people out too.
Yeah.
So just them being like, "Oh, we're setting up here selling," their friends showed up, and it was just by not just targeting music, but actually having the vendors there. The vendors told people to come out, and that seemed to help as well.
What was the reason?
A nice idea. A nice idea. Yeah.
That's
okay.
What was the reason for not recording that one?
Computer issues.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I started setting up and I started getting it working. Then I started running into computer problems, and instead of fighting and stressing about the computer issues, I just decided to enjoy the night.
Yeah, that's fair.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
So, I mean, I think this is probably pretty tied to the fundraising discussion, which we're gonna have next session. So as much as we can, I'd like to avoid that. So if somebody specifically was going to show up for fundraising, we have that discussion then. But we probably have to talk about it some. That's just where we're at. I mean, unless you have, you being anyone that's listening, have a place that, is, you don't have to pay for, which I think, like Tom has, and I don't know how much he can do outside of his band, but like they have DNA studios where they can do some stuff. And like, I know Josh has a studio where he can do some stuff. And he's played like, he's called them cave shows, but I'm wondering if they're not actually caves so much as I need to talk to him about this, or the catacombs that are in Paris. I wonder if they're the catacombs. Yeah, I'm not real sure. Like after having visited Paris, when sadly Josh was out of town, and like being in the catacombs, I was like, oh, this is probably what he's talking about. Maybe he's calling them caves because he's not, because they're illegal, so he doesn't want to say exactly where they're at. Yeah, I don't know all the details, but anyway, the point is, like they're
hard to stream from there.
Yeah. I don't know that they streamed, but unless there's a place that you can without payment, and then of course there's the bands. So, which if they're all local, and they're just invited to the party, and their payment to the party is playing, then I think sometimes that could work too. But that's not going to work for people that are traveling any distance at all, because the travel costs money. So, I guess one of my initial like thoughts about like making sure we have an organization to handle funds and stuff was for stuff like this specifically. So, we're funding wise, I think, a long way away from anything substantial, of course, but I guess it'd be good, Rhino, to have like some of your vision. What would you like to do? Just don't worry about the moment for a little while, and just let people see the vision.
If money is no object, I'd love to get Dueling Hall again, because Dueling Hall is like the premier spot for having concerts here. The next step up is
you step back. So the vision is local to you shows, or I mean, because you've done shows in Milwaukee and in Charlotte both. So let's think big picture first, and then we can zoom in.
Well, I would prefer to do local for me. I know Jackson, Mississippi's kind of out of the way for most everybody. We do have an airport, and it is cheap here.
Well, I guess if you would prefer to do them in Jackson, why did you do them in Milwaukee and Charlotte?
Because I wanted to have a full band with Cullah, and we were just trying to plan a trip, and it's like, hey, Cullah, can we do a show up there? And he's like, yes. Okay. And so that was why we did that. It was a summer vacation. Took a week and a half off work, drove up there, stopped in Nashville and saw John on the way up there, spread out the trip over 3 days, and just made a kind of family vacation of it. It was actually the child's first concert.
Nice.
So, and then
Charlotte?
Charlotte was my office for work when I go in is actually located in Charlotte. So I knew I was going to Charlotte, and I knew Walls was there in Charlotte. I actually like his video. One of the videos, actually, he's driving around in the back of a pickup truck, and like he was driving around downtown Charlotte. I'm like, wait a minute, I know exactly where that is. And so once I figured out he was from there and he was local to that area, and I knew I was coming into town, I was like, hey, and it just kind of worked out. We were able to get something kind of coordinated. And yeah, then of course the Jackson ones in here. I always like to do the 2 nights here because I like having it like. And this is one of my favorite parts of it, is especially when John comes down. It's all about food. Like we will sit there and make this huge dinner. We'll actually like make steak tacos, fish tacos. Um, yeah, like, and we'll just make it this one night is going to be like having a big family dinner, then going and sitting, performing and hanging out, and then have the one night out. That's why I like having them in Jackson. It's because I can make it for 2 nights and have one night that's just like a little private little function that's just us here at the house having a little party. Then the next night is out and about, or the first night, or vice versa. Sorry, my dog just went out the pet flap. I kept hearing noise in the background, and that was him. But yeah, so it's just one of those things that we like to do it over 2 nights just so we can relax and have the food. And I will tell you, if you ever get to see John Worthy, get him to cook for you. The man is an awesome cook.
So I'm trying to think where I put this. I think it might have been in the community building session. Let's see about. Maybe it was on the Net Label Day. On here. Oh, you know what? I think this might be where it was. Yeah. So I guess like, my sort of vision here is, back in the early days of Net Label Day, there were concerts and events in, all sorts of places: Chile, Argentina, UK, Spain, Mexico, Slovenia. So I'd like to bring that back. So this is pulled off of Omar's blog, by the way.
Yeah.
So,
and I will say, I do think with us all being so all over the world and stuff like that, that if we could do something that was in different locations, that wouldn't necessarily be a bad idea. That we could have like little smaller events and stuff and kind of tie people together that way.
So back in 2008 and then also in 2009, and Tom may not have been at the first one, but Tom was at the second one. I was involved in an organization called Open Everything. Now, we used a wiki that was developed by the organization MindTouch, and then MindTouch like pulled all their open source stuff, and then that wiki went away. You might be able to find it on archive.org. But I can't remember what we did the second year. Maybe it was just us in Madison. We had a much bigger event in 2009, but 2008, the day started in Hong Kong, and then Hong Kong sort of passed the torch to Berlin, and then us in Madison, we got on the on a like a Skype call or something with the folks in Berlin, and so they sort of like talked about like the the big like trending topics at their event, and where they had sort of got with things, and sort of that sort of like kicked our day off with where that they had left. Now that was just like, I think there's a lot more opportunity now. None of those events were like streamed the whole way, which now we could do that. So there'd be a lot more opportunity for overlap on things. But, I don't know how far away we are from doing something like that. But I think that would sort of be my sort of like ultimate like Net Label Day plan, or like Net Label Saturday or whatever it becomes, because Net Label Day being on the 14th is somewhat limiting. I mean, it is what it is, but it's like if it was like the first Saturday or the second Saturday or whatever, then like it's always on a Saturday, which would be kind of nice.
This would be really great, and if it's not fixed to the 14th of July, and maybe a little bit earlier, because the 14th of July is mid in the holiday season.
Yeah, well, we don't have any control over that. That's Omar's deal. So, so maybe Europe's out, and then like we just like, if we could find somebody in in Africa time zone wise, then we could still do the Pacific to pass over to to the Greenwich line to the Western Hemisphere. We could still have that go on.
I like the idea. This is also something that I really was thinking about. I was attending the Open Educational Resources Global Camp in 21, and this was also something like this. We had a talk from Paris, and later in the night we had a talk from Hong Kong, and so it was going around the world, and this was really, really nice. But one thing I'm still struggling with is we can stream a concert, okay, but how can we how can we do it? I don't know. So what's the difference between a live stream concert and a recorded live concert? I think there has to be a difference, but I'm still trying to figuring it out.
I mean,
so what's special about a live stream, and how can we make it special?
I mean,
so that it's not just like
yeah. Well, I will say the one thing that's always like made the live stream special for me is like, because I have the chat room and stuff that always runs and stuff like that, to where it's able to share it with the people who are listening live and like have that open, like real-time conversation with them.
But it's you and not the band. So how can we get the band involved?
True. Although I will tell you, this is one of the things I've gotten to love about having them in the house, is because I can stop and talk to the band and be like, hey, here's a question. Hey, can you play this?
That's a good idea. Yeah. That's more like an interview, and then a bit of a
Oh yeah. Like, I know last time we had John here, and I need to go and post it on YouTube. But like one of the things that we were sitting there doing is like telling stories back and forth. Like as he was sitting there playing a song, he'd be like, "Oh," and he'd tell like the story of the song, and then I'd like be like, one of his songs was like huge for me and Sybil in our relationship, and so we actually got to have that story time with them. And then if like questions came in from chat, you could actually be like, "Oh, hey," but yeah, actually opening it up and having that back and forth during it. I know it breaks up the music sometimes, and a lot of people just want beginning to end music, but like the banter back and forth really makes it a fun event. And having the live stream and actually having questions and stuff come in from the chat that we could stop and be like, "Hey, they've asked about this and they'd like to hear about this.
Yeah, I think that's a fundamental for community. I mean, I think that's, I don't know, a big piece of it. I mean, having music recommended by humans and just streamed constantly, cool, but the conversation, the DJ, that whole thing, and then add in that it's actually live music. That's another live magic thing to it. I mean, you're getting further and further away from the algo. I think that's key.
Yeah. So okay, I'm willing to do my part on this net label day, and I can set up a little live concert with some electronic musicians, and who's building his own modules for a synthesizer and have questions from the audience. So yeah. I can do this. Yeah.
And I think there should be some that we can definitely get here to do that. And I mean, especially some artists are more aware of the Creative Commons on their sleeve, and the others are just kind of like, well, I just put the music there to try to reach people. But the ones that actually like wear it on their sleeve would be great to have talk about it.
Right.
Yes, I know some. I know some people from Cologne who are really into the idea of Creative Commons and not just like, well, just like here, Kratzen, the band Doug had discovered is a band from Cologne, and I was talking to the guitarist, and I always said, hey, you have to do Creative Commons, and now he put it under Creative Commons, and I asked, you're into Creative. Well, you said I should do so. So he didn't think it through, but anyway, now it's it's so.
Yeah, and I know it's kind of crazy over there. I still remember talking to Shearer way back in the day, and he was talking about like how they were able to use Creative Commons for like the space show over there in Germany. What was it? Like, because the show was all made by the German Space Agency.
Yes, the Space Night from the it's from a Bayerischer Rundfunk, yeah, and they had problems with the collecting society, with the GEMA, and then a friend of mine who was working at the space agency at the DLR, the Marco Trovatello, he was in contact with this Space Night, and then they started to ask for tracks for their videos who were licensed under Creative Commons. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember meeting Marco when I was there with you in Cologne.
Yes. You did. Yeah.
He's a very nice, very quiet guy.
Yeah, but he's cool.
Mm-hmm.
He's really into Creative Commons. He managed to get the DLR to release all their pictures under Creative Commons, and it took him like 3 or 4 years of constantly talking to the responsible people and talking to the lawyers, and he slowly nudged them into
Nice. It takes a lot. And that's one of the things, especially trying to explain it to people and trying to get people to actually understand and be involved in it isn't always. It takes effort.
Yeah.
Is it useful for us to think about? I think of it like, isn't it like how Black Flag figured it out? Like they created a network of different venues and different people in different areas so that the bands could tour.
Yeah, I mean, this is very specifically why that I wanted to have like local contact points that we discussed earlier.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I always still bring up Brent. My photographer I work with here, I am not a people person. I know you can't believe that from me as much as I talk and as much as I put myself out there on the internet. I'm really just shy and don't want to do any of it. I just accidentally into all of it. But I got somebody here local that is always willing to help me out. That's all about the music. And being a band photographer and being so tied, he's always able to help me set up stuff here. that he's the one that when I do have events here, he's the one that's on the floor running around asking people, inviting people, and getting people to show up.
He knows the venue people too, or
Oh yeah. Actually, when John comes down anymore, he just reaches out to him first, and actually will get the venue set up through him. He start working at this coffee place here that actually has like a warehouse and like a performing place where they're going to host bands and stuff. That once they get it up and rolling, he's like, yeah, we can definitely use it and stuff.
cool.
He's also really tied into the record store, and like all the record store shows, he's helped get set up and get going. But yeah, having that local contact and somebody who can do that footwork for you, it really makes a big difference.
Is there a good way for us to, I don't know, help provide that through the website or through some other, I don't know, service that we could? I'm not sure.
I don't know if there would be a good way to kind of share that.
Yeah.
Well, this would be a huge project. Back in the days when there was no internet, there were like printed well, not really books, but printed magazines with addresses of DIY places. There was one famous book that's or magazine called Book Your Own Fucking Life. I don't know if you hear this.
I haven't heard
know
of it.
this? It
No.
was a punk thing. It was a punk magazine from the States, and in Germany there was one guy who just tried to do this for Germany, and he had this collection of all the address with all these cool independent venues. And yes, I ordered one, and then I started phoning all the venues. But it was really a really good collection of addresses, and every now and then there are some attempts to revive this idea on the internet, but but it's a huge project to collect addresses with details of venues who are really into this DIY thing.
Yeah.
And I think in the punk scene, it's kind of working. They have good networks. Yeah, I don't know if it's manageable for us, but
Right.
we should have this in mind. Yeah.
Oh, I like that idea. I actually have like on there a resource section that we could actually help
Yeah.
put together. Yeah, and I see Mike just put the link to that book. Curious
wow.
to see what it shows from Mississippi. It does not have Mississippi.
It does it?
No,
No.
got Puerto Rico.
Wow.
But no
Is this
Mississippi.
so? Is this still a thing, or is this not maintained anymore? I cannot read it here because I'm on my phone actually.
From
so-
92.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
uploads
yeah,
from
yeah.
92, but
Okay.
Illinois. All right.
I mean, that could be an interesting idea to kind of do something along that line that would actually tie to the venues and stuff that were reachable and stuff. Like
Yeah,
that. I've
that's
never
really
seen
cool.
that before.
Wow.
so I think we kind of missed the boat on Net Label Day 2025. I mean, something small perhaps, but I guess the CCMA, if we think we can target something for February or March next year,
Mhm.
could be an option. I don't know what people think, or if we want to wait until
Holy crap.
Net Label Day 2026.
Yeah.
Screeching weasel. Okay. Sorry.
Let's go on. Sorry, the child and dog are behind me going through motions.
This is beautiful. I'm sorry. I'm obsessed with this thing now.
Yeah.
It's so
So do we think like March? So earlier we talked about having sort of reviving the CCMA. Next year may be too early because we gotta get the charts going for that, and I don't know if that's gonna work. Do we think that's a reasonable? Basically we're talking about 14 months.
Yeah.
But also we have like everything else that we're doing in that 14 months. Do we think that's reasonable, or do we want to maybe target Net Label Day 2026 for something?
Well, I think even if it's small, it's worth trying to get something. Like, what's the saying? Perfection is the enemy of done.
Sure. Probably I'll have to talk to Cheese and Potsy, see if they want to do something in Japan. If we really want to do like an all day thing. And then, that would be, does that seem like a decent timeline for you, Stoffel, to have maybe something in Cologne?
Well, I'm really not decided. I'm really thinking about organizing a festival like the Cologne Commons again.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was a nice festival. Was 2 days, was very fun. But on the other hand, the people there, the audience, didn't come back the next year. So it was like, I can do a festival, but it's not building up to something.
Yeah.
What I really like, is the idea of having live shows going around the whole day, going around the world. And what Rhino just said, because this was it clicked it just clicked for me, and have the people from all around the world chat with the artist, and then have some kind of AMA, ask me anything with the artist, and then we have some they are playing music again, and so it really makes a difference to just a recorded live event. So, and I have a rehearsal room here in Cologne where I can set up things for this. And it's not so much work for me to do, because a 2-day festival is like organizing like 4 months. You are working 4 months for this. You have to phone with all the people. You have to email with all the artists. You have to find accommodation for them. You have to think about how the food at this evening. You have to find people who are doing the technique and stuff. It's tremendous work, and I'm getting old. I'm getting really old, and I think I'm in the deep of my heart. I'm a musician. I'm not a concert organizer. So yes. So I'm really not decided if I want to do a 2-day festival in Cologne again, but I really like the idea of having little events going around the world. So with this, I'm totally in. I'm totally in for that. Yeah, but I'm having a small festival in April now here at our place here in Cologne. But it's embedded in a night of a quarter of Cologne. So where every bar in this now how do you say quarter? But every bar in this area is opening, and the people are walking around, and I'm organizing the concerts at our place at the Kunstwerk, and I have invited Luka from Slovenia. I have invited Konrad Beer from Dresden. I have invited Herr Irrtum, who was in this chat before, from Berlin. I'm I will revive my own techno project, this Blau Monster, and I have to see how this feels, how much work it is, if I'm exhausted, if I'm totally exhausted after that. So if you have some kind of logo ready by that or flyer, I can print it and make some advertisement for Friends of CC Music there. But I don't think I will live stream this because this is a little bit too much technical hassle for me. So I'm doing this in April, on the 5th of April, and then I will know if I have the nerves to organize a 2-day festival in 2026, but I have to see until then. Yeah.
I will say the last stream I did just do it from my phone and just use the Twitch app and did it. And
okay.
The audio wasn't as good, but it was a simple way to do it. But I'm kind of like you. I think it was one of those ideas that we kind of talked up, like the whole thing having the small events where it's kind of like the VH1 storytellers they used to do it with the big artists here, where they'd come in and they tell the stories, and we have the bands come in, tell stories while they're performing. And since we're doing it like that, like I could do one here from here. You said you had your rehearsal studio. We could talk to Josh. He could probably do one from his rehearsal studio.
Yeah.
And just have a way for each of the bands to have questions in an AMA question and answer session as they're playing. And doing something small like that would make it a lot less hectic to organize.
Yeah. Yes.
Because it does get overwhelming.
Yeah, and I can do this in this year. I can do this in 2025. So it's just if I have a slot like 1 hour or maybe 2 hours, and I have 2 artists. So this is manageable for me. Yeah, and then then I really have to see how things work out and how my personal situation is going to develop, because I told Dark about it, but my elder daughter is really is serious ill at the moment, so I have to take care of her, and so it's okay. It's not life threatening, but it's really stressful at the moment. So okay.
Yeah.
So I really have to see how things are going to work out this year.
But I always forget what date Net Label Day is, but
July
like
14th.
Even to where I think it would make sense to because it's like on a Tuesday, you said this year.
It's Monday.
Yeah, that's nothing happens in Jackson on Mondays.
Yeah. Well, that's why we decided to make it Net Label Week, and then people can just they don't have to feel like they're getting left out if they do it on some day other than Net Label Day. But I think we probably don't have time to plan something for Net Label Day this year, but let's pick a date for the CCMA stuff next year. I think aside from Valentine's Day, I don't see any like hard pass dates. Easter is in April next year. I don't know if anybody has anything they know about that would be, if somebody's got something that always happens like the first week of March that we should avoid or something like that. Spring break
going to happen.
Spring break for a lot of people is going to be in like late February or early March, which could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing, depending. So I don't know.
I'm just being honest. I've gotten completely distracted by this book.
Dude,
back through and looking.
I was stuck in it for a minute. Oh my god.
Like I keep going back to it and seeing if I can find like any
I
bands
know.
or stuff I remember from back then,
Yeah,
and be like, "Oh, I remember them,"
yeah.
or see if any of them actually ended up being a big band or anything like that.
It's crazy.
Sorry,
So
But- ahead.
this last Saturday in March gives us the most time to prep, but the first Saturday in February gives us the most distance in between CCMA and Net Label Day. So this, if we're doing like a yearly, it gives us like basically a month to get our shit together. Previous attempts have suggested that's not enough time. However, perhaps it will be with our newly formatted way of doing things. So, and then obviously, somewhere in the middle, sort of like best of both worlds kind of thing. The best of both worlds, but also the worst of both worlds. So, I don't have strong feelings about it, except not Valentine's Day. Because I mean, unless we want to do like a we love CC music like Valentine's Day party, maybe actually that's exactly what we should do.
The women in our lives might not agree with that.
Well, I mean, my wife doesn't give a shit. I know that, so I'm not worried. I'm not personally worried about that.
Might have a problem.
But yeah, I don't know.
I like the idea. I think I like it.
I also don't know internationally how big of a day Valentine's Day is. I know they celebrate Valentine's Day in Japan, but it's like super weird in compare. I mean, it's like way different than the way we celebrate it.
Like KFC for Christmas.
Yeah, it's that sort of thing. It's just like, okay, I can recognize this as being the same thing, but it's like clearly from a parallel universe. Like, but anyway, that's all I'll go on about Japanese Valentine's Day.
Well, I would think CMA, I don't know, I guess I tend to think like, people have their awards things like at the end of the year, which I think is really stupid.
Well, I mean, like the Grammys and stuff like that is all like, it's all in like February and March.
Right. So to me, like you can't have it in December because that's cheating. And then like as soon, I don't know, to me, like, I don't know, you don't want to do it really in January. Maybe you do it in January, but like the first week, the first, I don't know, first day of February that you could do it, I feel like is the way to do it.
Okay.
Yes.
So the 7th.
Yeah.
Okay. And maybe we'll just call this like, we can figure out exactly how it's all going to work, especially if it's like globalized, the days get weird. So we'll just say like CCMA weekend. Don't know why. Oh, I didn't click on the stop it here. I don't know if he's still going to be going to Barson Rexton because they're moving, but whatever. It's on the calendar for now.
I mean, that's kind of what, like, we should kind of do this. I know we got Omar, but I feel like that's what Net Label Day should be too, right? It should be like the first of, well, I couldn't be July because July 4th or whatever. I don't know, but the second weekend of July or something. But no, but that we could change that because Europe. Why don't we? I don't know. At some point.
Yeah, I mean,
I think I also think it should be like the first or second Saturday of July or something like that. Not in the middle.
But that's
of the
bad
week,
for you guys, right?
Yeah, it's.
But I think that doing the Net Label week
It's okay.
Problem.
It's okay. Yes,
we always center the week on July 14th. Those people that want to do it on Net Label Day, all G, do it July, the 14th, and then.
But don't we like the 24 hours thing?
I think that.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay because in France, the 14th of July is a national It's a national.
Yeah. That's Bastille Day, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's Bastille Day. Yes,
So-
So that's
So-
no.
Yeah.
No, it's good. It's great. Bastille Day and Creative Commons Net Label Day. It's great. It goes
Just
well
because you guys
together.
don't like the French, I mean, I get it, but you know.
Yeah.
But I think so. There's always been, I think, some Net Label Day stuff that didn't happen on Net Label Day, but
Yeah.
I think that it's still there's some people that are gonna feel like, you know, they've missed out or they're not part of it unless they're giving explicit permission. And you know, like Omar is like super laid back and like, yeah, just whatever you want to do and stuff. And like some people like really vibe with that and they're like, yeah, man, I can just do what I want. But other people, it's like that's stressful because they don't know what to do. They don't have any direction. And like now we've given like explicit permission. But if somebody can't do it Net Label Day week and they need to do it 2 weeks later, great. like you know, but you gotta kind of like cut it off at some point.
Yeah.
You know, so we are past the 50-minute mark, which is fine. It's good discussion. Is there anything anybody else wants to say about the live show topic before we move on to, well, first our break and then the fundraising discussion?
Just to summarize, so we decided to have some kind of live streams on Net Label Day this year. Rhino and I and maybe whoever wants. Maybe Josh can set up something in Paris.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to tell you guys not to do that, but I think we've kind of missed the boat on doing very much this year with Net Label Day. So, you
Kind
know,
of do it informal. It's like for
Yeah.
this year. If we're able to set something up this year and get it to happen, that's those small little in-house kind of storytelling sessions and stuff
Yeah.
like that. We go and do it if we're able to set it up, and then when we get it set up, and then we can start like be promoting it and saying, "Hey, we did get this set up. And
Yeah.
this is going to happen." But if it doesn't and people aren't able to, it's not a big deal because we're not making plans for people to travel across the world.
I think that makes sense.
So that's like Net Label Week events, kind of.
Yes. So we have from Friday the 11th
The 11th.
until
Okay.
until Sunday the 20th,
Yeah.
basically. So I really kind of wanted this to be like the 12 days of Net Labels, but I don't know. It's just kind of like there's only like a certain amount of weird that you can be before people just don't get it. So I think
I
right, I'll be
try to
right
push
back.
that level.
all right, I'm gonna take a bio break here, and probably you're gonna see me just stuffing my face with this peanut tofu here after I go to the bathroom.
Yes. So it's getting late in here, and I'm up really early this morning. It's at 5:30. So I think to the funding topic I cannot contribute so much.
Fair
So
enough.
is it okay if so I'm just saying bye for now, and then we'll keep in touch. And
Sounds good. Thanks
Okay.
for
See you
thanks for
guys.
stopping by. Yeah,
Yep.
thanks,
Bye.
Mike.
yeah, okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm probably
Then
have. All right. See you.